understand and respect these differences is an increasingly important skill in our globalized world. One way to develop cultural empathy is through exposure and education. Read books, watch films, or better yet, engage in direct interactions with people from different cultural backgrounds. Pay attention to how emotions are expressed and handled in these different contexts. The more you expose yourself to diverse perspectives, the more flexible and nuanced your empathy skills will become. It's important to note that while empathy and emotional intelligence are powerful tools, they must be used authentically and ethically. Using these skills manipulatively, for example, feigning empathy to gain an advantage, is not only unethical but often backfires, as people are generally quite good at detecting insincerity. True empathy comes from a genuine place of caring and desire to understand. As you develop your empathy and emotional intelligence skills, you may find that they enhance other aspects of your communication. For example, your ability to choose words wisely will be improved by your deeper understanding of emotional nuances. Your use of silence might become more powerful as you become more attuned to the emotional rhythms of a conversation. However, it's also important to maintain balance. While empathy is crucial, it shouldn't come at the expense of your own emotional well-being. It's possible to be too empathetic to the point where you become overwhelmed by others' emotions. Part of emotional intelligence is knowing how to set healthy boundaries and take care of your own emotional needs while still being responsive to others. One technique for maintaining this balance is the practice of compassionate detachment. This involves empathizing with others' emotions without becoming entangled in them. You can acknowledge and validate someone's feelings without taking responsibility for them or letting them dictate your own emotional state. In professional settings, empathy and emotional intelligence can be game changers. They can help you navigate office politics more effectively, build more meaningful relationships with coworkers and clients, and lead teams more successfully. In sales and marketing, empathy can help you understand and address customers' needs more effectively. In negotiation, it can help you find win-win solutions by understanding the underlying interests and emotions of all parties. For leaders, empathy and emotional intelligence are particularly crucial skills. A leader who can understand and address the emotional needs of their team can inspire greater loyalty, motivation, and productivity. They can navigate changes and challenges more smoothly by anticipating and addressing emotional reactions. And they can create a more positive and collaborative work environment by modeling emotionally intelligent behavior. One powerful tool for leaders is the practice of emotion coaching. This involves helping team members recognize and manage their own emotions effectively. Instead of dismissing or trying to change negative emotions, an emotion coach acknowledges these feelings and helps the individual work through them constructively. This not only helps resolve immediate issues, but also helps team members develop their own emotional intelligence over time. As you continue to develop your empathy and emotional intelligence, remember that these are lifelong skills. Our understanding of emotions, both our own and others, can always deepen and expand. Stay curious about your own emotional experiences and those of others. Regularly reflect on your interactions and look for opportunities to apply empathy more effectively. One way to continually refine these skills is through the practice of emotional audit. At the end of each day or week, take some time to review your interactions. Where did you successfully apply empathy? Where might you have missed opportunities to connect emotionally? What themes do you notice in your emotional reactions? This regular practice of reflection can help you continuously improve your empathy and emotional intelligence skills. It's also valuable to seek feedback from others on your emotional intelligence. Ask trusted friends, colleagues, or mentors how they perceive your empathy skills. Do they feel understood and heard when interacting with you? Are there areas where you could improve in recognizing or responding to others' emotions? This external perspective can provide crucial information that you might miss through self-reflection alone. As you become more skilled in empathy and emotional intelligence, you may find that the communication style naturally evolves. You might become more patient, more curious about others' perspectives, more adept at diffusing tense situations. You might find yourself asking more questions and making fewer assumptions. Your relationships, both personal and professional, may deepen and become more rewarding. However, it's important to remember that being empathetic and emotionally intelligent doesn't mean always agreeing with others or avoiding difficult conversations. In fact, these skills can make you more effective at addressing conflicts and having challenging discussions. When people feel genuinely heard and understood, they're often more open to different perspectives and more willing to find compromises. One powerful technique for applying empathy in difficult conversations is the use of validation statements. These are phrases that acknowledge and accept the other person's emotions without necessarily agreeing with their position. For example, "I can see why you would feel that way," or "that must be really difficult for you." These statements can help de-escalate tension and create a more constructive atmosphere for problem solving. As we conclude this exploration of empathy and emotional intelligence, consider how these skills integrate with and enhance the other communication techniques we've discussed. The brevity we cultivated earlier becomes more powerful when infused with emotional understanding. The strategic silences we learn to use can become moments of deep emotional connection, and our carefully chosen words can carry even more impact when selected with empathetic awareness. But while empathy and emotional intelligence form a crucial foundation for effective communication, they are not the whole picture. There's another dimension of communication that can amplify your message and reinforce your words in powerful ways. Are you ready to explore the silent language that speaks volumes, the world of nonverbal communication? Chapter 6, Nonverbal Communication. In the intricate tapestry of human interaction, words are but a single thread. Alongside them runs a rich, complex language that speaks without sound, the language of nonverbal communication. This silent dialogue of gestures, expressions, and postures often conveys more meaning than our words ever could. Mastering this unspoken language is a crucial step in developing quiet confidence and achieving more by saying less. Nonverbal communication comprises a wide range of aspects: facial expressions, eye contact, body posture, gestures, touch, spatial behavior, and even our appearance and environment. These elements work in concert to reinforce, contradict, or sometimes entirely replace our verbal messages. In fact, studies suggest that in face-to-face interactions, nonverbal cues can account for up to 65 to 93% of the total impact of the message. The power of nonverbal communication lies in its authenticity and immediacy. While we can carefully choose our words, our body often reveals our true thoughts and feelings involuntarily. A slight twitch of the eye, a barely noticeable change in posture, or a momentary expression can betray our inner state, even as our words say something entirely different. This is why developing awareness and control of our nonverbal cues is so crucial for effective communication. Let's start with facial expressions, often considered the most important aspect of nonverbal communication. Our faces are incredibly expressive, capable of conveying countless emotions without uttering a single word. A genuine smile can build rapport and trust, while a furrowed brow might signal concern or disagreement. The key to mastering facial expressions is not to try to control them completely. That often leads to an unnatural, forced appearance, but rather to cultivate awareness of what your face is expressing and ensure it aligns with your intended message. One powerful exercise for developing this awareness is the mirror technique. Spend some time each day in front of a mirror, practicing different expressions. Try to convey various emotions: joy, surprise, concern, interest, using only your face. Pay attention to the subtle movements of your eyebrows, lips, and eyes. Then, try to identify these expressions in others during your daily interactions. This practice will not only make you more aware of your own expressions, but also more adept at reading those of others. Eye contact plays a vital role in nonverbal communication. In many cultures, maintaining appropriate eye contact is associated with confidence, honesty, and engagement. However, the key word here is appropriate. Too little eye contact may give the impression that you're unable uninterested or insecure, while too much can come across as aggressive or make others uncomfortable. A good rule of thumb is the 50-70 rule. Strive to maintain eye contact for 50% of the time while you're talking and 70% of the time while listening. But remember, this can vary depending on cultural norms and individual comfort levels. Practice finding a balance that doesn't feel forced or artificial for both you and your conversation partner. Body posture is a powerful communicator of attitude and emotional state. An open posture, shoulders back, chest open, arms uncrossed, generally conveys confidence and receptiveness. Conversely, a closed posture, arms crossed, shoulders hunched, can signal defensiveness or discomfort. Pay attention to your habitual postures in different situations. Are you inadvertently closing yourself off when you want to appear open and approachable? One effective technique for improving posture is the power pose. Before entering a high-stakes situation, take a moment to stand in a confident pose. Feet apart, hands on hips, chin up. Hold this pose for 2 minutes. Research suggests that this can actually increase your feelings of confidence and power, which in turn influences how others perceive you. Gestures can add emphasis and clarity to our verbal messages, but they can also reveal our inner states. Confident, uninterested, or insecure, while too much can come across as aggressive or make others uncomfortable. A good rule of thumb is the 50-70 rule. Strive to maintain eye contact for 50% of the time while you're talking and 70% of the time while listening. But remember, this can vary depending on cultural norms and individual comfort levels. Practice finding a balance that doesn't feel forced or artificial for both you and your conversation partner. Body posture is a powerful communicator of attitude and emotional state. An open posture, shoulders back, chest open, arms uncrossed, generally conveys confidence and receptiveness. Conversely, a closed posture, arms crossed, shoulders hunched, can signal defensiveness or discomfort. Pay attention to your habitual postures in different situations. Are you inadvertently closing yourself off when you want to appear open and approachable? One effective technique for improving posture is the power pose. Before entering a high-stakes situation, take a moment to stand in a confident pose. Feet apart, hands on hips, chin up. Hold this pose for 2 minutes. Research suggests that this can actually increase your feelings of confidence and power, which in turn influences how others perceive you. Gestures can add emphasis and clarity to our verbal messages, but they can also reveal our inner states. Confident, composed individuals tend to use purposeful, controlled gestures that complement their words. Excessive or fidgety gestures, on the other hand, can betray nervousness or lack of conviction. To refine your use of gestures, try the hands on the table exercise. During your next few conversations, consciously place your hands on the table or in your lap when you're not using them to gesture. This will make you more aware of when and how you're using gestures, allowing you to make them more intentional and effective. Touch, while a powerful form of nonverbal communication, is also one of the most culturally variable. In some cultures, a touch on the arm or a handshake is a normal part of communication, while in others, it may be seen as invasive. When using touch in communication, be acutely aware of cultural norms and individual comfort levels. When in doubt, err on the side of less physical contact until you're sure it's welcome. Spatial behavior, or proxemics, refers to how we use space in communication. The distance we maintain from others can convey intimacy, power dynamics, and cultural norms. In Western cultures, personal space is generally categorized into 4 zones: intimate, 0 to 18 inches, personal, 18 inches to 4 feet, social, 4 to 12 feet, and public, more than 12 feet. Being aware of these zones can help you communicate more effectively. For instance, standing too close to someone during a professional interaction might make them uncomfortable, while maintaining too much distance could make you seem aloof or uninterested. Practice being aware of the space between you and others, and notice how adjusting this distance affects the tone of your interactions. Even our appearance and environment communicate messages about us. The clothes we wear, our grooming habits, and the way we organize our personal spaces all send nonverbal signals about our personality, status, and attitudes. While it's important not to judge others solely on these factors, being aware of the messages your appearance and environment are sending can help you ensure they align with your intended communication. One often overlooked aspect of nonverbal communication is silence and timing. The pauses between words, the moment you choose to speak or remain quiet, can be as communicative as any gesture or expression. This ties back to our earlier discussion on the strategic use of silence. A well-timed pause can add emphasis to your words, give others time to process information, or simply create a space for reflection in the conversation. It's crucial to remember that nonverbal cues often work together to create an overall impression. A single gesture or expression doesn't exist in isolation, but as part of a larger nonverbal sentence. For instance, a smile combined with direct eye contact and an open posture generally conveys warmth and friendliness. The same smile paired with crossed arms and minimal eye contact might instead suggest sarcasm or insincerity. This is why congruence between verbal and nonverbal messages is so important. When our words align with our body language, our communication becomes more powerful and trustworthy. Incongruence, on the other hand, can lead to confusion or distrust. If you tell your team, "I'm excited about this new project," while your tone is flat and your posture is slumped, which message do you think they'll believe? Developing congruence requires self-awareness and practice. Start by paying attention to your nonverbal cues in different emotional states. How do you carry yourself when you're truly excited? How about when you're concerned or uncertain? Understanding your natural nonverbal patterns can help you ensure they're supporting rather than undermining your verbal messages. One powerful exercise for developing congruence is emotional embodiment. Choose an emotion or attitude you want to convey, confidence, for example. Then fully embody that state. How would a confident person stand? How would they move? What would their facial expression be? Practice moving and speaking from this embodied state. Over time, this can help you align your nonverbal cues more naturally with your intended message. It's equally important to develop your ability to read others' nonverbal cues. This skill, often called thin slicing, involves making accurate judgments based on brief observations of behavior. To practice this, try the mute button exercise. Watch a video of a conversation or interaction with the sound off. Based solely on the nonverbal cues, what can you deduce about the relationship between the people, their emotional states, and the content of their conversation? Then, watch it again with sound to see how accurate your observations were. However, it's crucial to approach the interpretation of nonverbal cues with caution and cultural sensitivity. Nonverbal behaviors can vary significantly across cultures. For instance, direct eye contact is generally seen as a sign of respect and attention in Western cultures, but in some cultures of the Asian continent, it may be perceived as confrontational or disrespectful. Similarly, the "okay" hand gesture is positive in many Western countries, but can be offensive in others. To develop cultural competence in nonverbal communication, make a point of learning about nonverbal norms in cultures different from your own. If you're interacting with people from diverse backgrounds, take the time to observe and ask respectfully about any nonverbal behaviors you're unsure about. This curiosity and respect for cultural differences can greatly enhance your communication effectiveness in diverse settings. As you become more aware of nonverbal communication, you may find yourself noticing subtleties you never picked up on before. You might start to sense the underlying emotions in a room, pick up on unspoken tensions, or understand the true meaning behind diplomatically worded statements. This heightened awareness can be a game changer, but it's crucial to use it ethically and respectfully. Remember, the goal of understanding nonverbal communication is not to read minds or manipulate others, but to enhance mutual understanding and connection. Use your knowledge to communicate more clearly and to better understand others, not to take advantage or make unfounded judgments. One area where mastery of nonverbal communication can be particularly powerful is in leadership and public speaking. A leader who can project confidence, warmth, and authority through their nonverbal cues can inspire trust and motivate action more effectively than words alone ever could. When giving a presentation or speech, your body language can engage your audience, emphasize key points, and convey your passion for the topic. To enhance your nonverbal skills in public speaking, try the camera test. Record yourself giving a presentation or speech, then watch it back with the sound off. What message is your body language conveying? Are you projecting the confidence and enthusiasm you intend to? Look for areas where you can align your nonverbal cues more closely with your verbal message. In negotiations and high-stakes conversations, nonverbal awareness can give you a significant advantage. By picking up on subtle cues, you might sense when the other party is uncomfortable with a proposal, even if they haven't said so explicitly. You can use your own nonverbal cues to project confidence and build rapport. Remember, though, that others may be equally aware of nonverbal cues, so strive for authenticity rather than trying to fake confidence or agreement. As you continue to develop your nonverbal communication skills, you may find that they enhance your emotional intelligence as well. The ability to read nonverbal cues is closely tied to empathy and social awareness. You'll likely become more attuned to others' emotional states and better able to respond appropriately in social situations. However, it's important not to become overly reliant on nonverbal cues at the expense of verbal communication. While nonverbal elements are powerful, they should complement rather than replace clear, direct verbal communication. The most effective communicators skillfully blend verbal and nonverbal elements to create clear, impactful messages. One way to practice this blending is through role-playing exercises. With a partner, act out various scenarios: a job interview, a difficult conversation with a colleague, a presentation to clients. Focus on aligning your nonverbal cues with your verbal message. After each scenario, give each other feedback on the effectiveness of both verbal and nonverbal elements. As we conclude this exploration of nonverbal communication, consider how this silent language intertwines with the other elements of effective communication we've discussed. The brevity we cultivate allows our nonverbal cues to shine through without being overshadowed by excessive words. The strategic silences we learn to use create space for powerful nonverbal messages. Our carefully chosen words are amplified by congruent body language, and our empathy and emotional intelligence are enhanced by our ability to read and respond to nonverbal cues. But while mastering nonverbal communication is a powerful tool, it's not the end of our journey towards quiet confidence. There's another crucial element that underpins all effective communication, an element that can make the difference between being heard and being truly influential. Are you ready to explore the foundational role of trust and credibility in communication? Chapter 7. Building Trust and Credibility. In the intricate tapestry of human communication, trust and credibility form the essential foundation upon which all other elements rest. No matter how eloquent your words, how strategic your silences, or how masterful your nonverbal cues, without trust and credibility, your message may fall on deaf ears or be met with skepticism. In the pursuit of quiet confidence and achieving more by saying less, establishing and maintaining trust becomes not just important, but paramount. Trust, in its essence, is the unwavering confidence in the reliability, honesty, or competence of someone or something. In communication, it's the bridge that allows your message to cross from your mind to another's, intact and respected. Credibility, closely related to trust, is the quality of being trusted and believed in. It's what makes your words carry weight, your opinions valued, and your influence felt. The power of trust and credibility in communication cannot be overstated. When you've established trust, you can say less and achieve more, because your audience is primed to listen, believe, and act on your words. Your silences are respected rather than questioned. Your brevity is seen as wisdom rather than lack of knowledge. Your nonverbal cues are interpreted positively rather than with suspicion. But how does one build this essential foundation of trust and credibility? It starts with consistency and integrity. Your words and actions must align not just in the moment, but over time. This doesn't mean being perfect. In fact, admitting mistakes and taking responsibility for them can significantly boost your credibility. It means being reliably true to your word and your values. One powerful technique for building trust is the practice of under-promising and over-delivering. This doesn't mean setting low expectations, but rather being realistic about what you can deliver and then putting in the extra effort to exceed those expectations. When you consistently deliver more than you promise, you establish a track record for reliability and excellence that enhances your credibility in all your communications. Transparency is another crucial pillar in building trust. In an age where information is readily available and secrets are hard to keep, openness has become a valued trait. This doesn't mean sharing everything. Discretion and respect for privacy are still important. But it does mean being honest about what you know and don't know, admitting when you're uncertain, and being willing to share your reasoning and decision-making processes. A useful exercise in developing transparency is the why behind the what practice. Whenever you communicate a decision or a plan, make it a habit to explain not just what you're doing, but why you're doing it. This insight into your thought process can help others understand and trust your decisions, even if they don't always agree with them. Expertise and competence are also crucial components of credibility. People are more likely to trust and believe someone who demonstrates deep knowledge and skill in their area. However, it's important to note that true expertise involves not just knowing a lot, but also being aware of the limits of your knowledge. Being willing to say, "I don't know, but I'll find out," can actually enhance your credibility more than trying to bluff your way through. To build and maintain your expertise, commit to continuous learning in your field. Stay informed on the latest trends, engage in professional development opportunities, and be willing to learn from others, including those junior to you. Share your knowledge generously, but also be open about areas where you're still learning. Active listening is another essential element for building trust and credibility. When you truly listen to others, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but genuinely seeking to understand their perspective, you demonstrate respect and build connection. This ties back to our earlier discussions on empathy and emotional intelligence. People are more likely to trust someone who they feel truly hears and understands them. Practice the art of reflective listening. After someone speaks, paraphrase what you've heard back to them to ensure you've understood correctly. This not only helps prevent misunderstandings, but also shows the speaker that you're fully engaged with their message. Nonverbal cues play a crucial role in establishing trust and credibility as well. Open body language, consistent eye contact, and a genuine smile can all contribute to a perception of trustworthiness. Remember our discussions on nonverbal communication. Ensure that your body language is congruent with your words to reinforce your credibility. One often overlooked aspect of building trust is the willingness to be vulnerable. This doesn't mean oversharing personal information or showing weakness in inappropriate contexts. Rather, it means being willing to admit when you're wrong, to show genuine emotion when appropriate, and to connect on a human level. Brené Brown, a researcher known for her work on vulnerability, argues that it's not a weakness, but a measure of courage and authenticity. Try the vulnerability challenge. In your next team meeting or any other type of conversation, share a relevant personal story or admit to a professional challenge you're facing. Notice how this openness affects the dynamic of the interaction and the level of trust in the relationship. Building trust and credibility isn't just about your direct communications. It's also about your reputation and the way others speak about you when you're not present. This is where the concept of social proof comes into play. When others vouch for your reliability and competence, it significantly enhances your credibility. To cultivate positive social proof, focus on consistently delivering value in all your interactions. Go above and beyond in your work, be helpful to colleagues, and maintain a positive professional attitude even in challenging situations. Over time, this will build a reservoir of goodwill that enhances your overall credibility. It's also important to address the role of empathy in building trust. When people feel that you understand and care about their perspective, they're more likely to trust you. This doesn't mean always agreeing with everyone, but it does mean demonstrating that you've considered their viewpoint and respect their feelings, even when you disagree. Practice perspective taking in your interactions. Before responding to someone, particularly in a disagreement, take a moment to mentally put yourself in their shoes. What might be driving their position? What concerns or fears might they have? Acknowledging these factors in your response can go a long way toward building trust, even in difficult conversations. In the digital age, building trust and credibility has taken on new dimensions. With so much of our communication happening online, we need to be mindful of how we present ourselves and interact in digital spaces. Your online presence, be it on professional networking sites, social media, or in email communications, all contribute to your overall credibility. Develop a consistent, professional online persona that aligns with your in-person presentation. Be mindful of what you post and share as it becomes a part of your digital footprint. In email communications, pay attention to your tone, response time, and the accuracy of your information. Small details, like proper grammar and punctuation, can have a surprising impact on how your digital communications are perceived. Another crucial aspect of maintaining credibility is following through on commitments. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to make casual promises or agree to tasks that we then struggle to complete. But each unfulfilled commitment, no matter how small, chips away at our credibility. Implement a system for tracking and following up on all commitments you make. This could be as simple as a dedicated notebook or as sophisticated as a project management app. The key is to have a reliable method for ensuring you don't let things slip through the cracks. It's also important to recognize that building trust and credibility is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing process. Trust can be lost much more quickly than it's gained, and credibility can be damaged by a single misstep. This means we must be vigilant in maintaining the trust we've built. One way to maintain trust over time is through regular trust check-ins. In your important professional and personal relationships, make it a practice to occasionally ask for feedback on your trustworthiness and reliability. This could be as simple as asking, is there anything I could be doing to be more reliable or transparent in our interactions? This not only helps you uncover areas that need work, but also prove your commitment to maintaining trust. In leadership roles, trust and credibility take on even greater importance. A leader who is trusted can inspire and motivate their team far more effectively than one who is viewed with suspicion or doubt. Trusted leaders can make difficult decisions and navigate challenges more smoothly because their team believes in their judgment and intentions. For leaders, one powerful trust-building technique is the practice of trust transparency. This involves being open about the reasoning behind decisions, admitting when you don't have all the answers, and being willing to engage in open dialogue about concerns or disagreements. It also means following through on promises and being consistent in your treatment of team members. It's crucial to remember that trust and credibility are not about creating a perfect, infallible image. In fact, trying to appear perfect can often backfire, making you seem inauthentic or unapproachable. True credibility comes from being genuinely competent, consistently reliable, and authentically human, flaws and all. This ties into the concept of authentic leadership, which emphasizes being true to oneself and one's values. People tend to place greater trust in authentic leaders because their actions consistently align with their stated beliefs and values. To shape your unique, authentic leadership style, take time to reflect on your core values and how they inform your decisions and actions. Look for opportunities to articulate these values to your team and to demonstrate them in your daily interactions. In negotiations and conflict resolution, trust and credibility play a pivotal role. When parties trust each other, they're more likely to engage in open, honest dialogue and to work towards mutually beneficial solutions. Even in adversarial situations, maintaining your credibility can give you a significant advantage. One technique for building trust in negotiations is the small concessions approach. By making small, good faith concessions early in the negotiation process, you demonstrate your willingness to work towards a fair solution. This can encourage reciprocity from the other party and create a more collaborative atmosphere. It's also important to consider the role of cultural differences in building trust and credibility. What's considered trustworthy behavior in one culture may be viewed differently in another. For example, in certain societies, maintaining direct eye contact is seen as a sign of honesty and engagement, while in others, it may be perceived as aggressive or disrespectful. To navigate these differences, practice cultural humility, the willingness to learn about and respect cultural differences without making assumptions. When interacting with people from different cultural backgrounds, be open about your own cultural perspective and ask respectfully about their expectations and norms around trust building. As we navigate an increasingly complex and often polarized world, the ability to build trust across differences becomes ever more crucial. This involves not just respecting differences, but actively seeking to understand diverse perspectives and finding common ground. One powerful technique for building trust across differences is the practice of radical caring, a concept developed by Kim Scott. This involves caring personally while challenging directly. In other words, building a foundation of genuine care and respect that allows for honest, even difficult conversations. Remember, building trust and credibility is not about manipulating others or creating a false image. It's about consistently demonstrating through your words and actions that you are reliable, competent, and genuinely concerned about others' well-being. It's about aligning your internal values with your external behaviors in a way that creates congruence and authenticity. As you continue to develop your skills in building trust and credibility, you'll likely find that it enhances all other aspects of your communication. Your carefully chosen words will carry more weight. Your strategic silences will be respected rather than filled with doubt. Your nonverbal cues will be interpreted more positively, and your empathy and emotional intelligence will create even stronger connections. But while trust and credibility form a crucial foundation for effective communication, they are not the end of our journey towards quiet confidence. There's another powerful tool that can elevate your communication to new heights, a skill that allows you to not just convey information, but to truly influence and persuade. Are you ready to explore the transformative power of active listening in communication? Chapter 8, Listening as a Tool for Influence. In the symphony of human communication, we often focus on the art of speaking, crafting the perfect phrase, delivering a compelling argument, or inspiring with soaring rhetoric. Yet, there's a powerful instrument in this orchestra that's frequently overlooked: listening. Far from being a passive act, listening, when done skillfully and intentionally, can be one of the most potent tools for influence in your communication arsenal. The power of listening as a tool for influence lies in its ability to create deep connections, foster understanding, and build the kind of trust that makes people receptive to your ideas. When you truly listen to someone, you're not just hearing their words, you're giving them the profound gift of feeling understood. This creates a foundation of goodwill and openness that can dramatically enhance your ability to influence and persuade. But what exactly is this kind of influential listening? It goes far beyond simply staying quiet while another person speaks. It's an active, engaged process that involves not just your ears, but your mind, your emotions, and even your body. This is what we call active listening, and mastering it can transform your interactions and dramatically increase your influence. At its core, active listening involves fully paying close attention on what is being said, rather than simply hearing the message of the speaker. It involves listening with all senses, putting all your attention on the speaker, and trying your best to understand the complete message being delivered. This means not just focusing on the words, but also on the tone of voice, the emotional content, and the nonverbal cues that accompany the spoken message. One of the first steps in developing your active listening skills is to eliminate distractions. In our hyper-connected world, This can be challenging, but it's essential. Put away your phone, close your laptop, turn away from your computer screen. Give the speaker your full, undivided attention. This simple act alone can have a powerful effect, making the speaker feel valued and heard. Next, focus on your body language. Maintain appropriate eye contact. Lean slightly forward and keep an open posture. These nonverbal cues signal to the speaker that you're giving them your undivided attention. Remember our discussion on nonverbal communication. Your body language while listening is just as important as when you're speaking. As you listen, practice reflecting or paraphrasing what you've heard back to the speaker. This serves two important purposes. First, it ensures that you've accurately understood the message. Second, it demonstrates to the speaker that you're truly listening and trying to see things from their point of view. You might say something like, "If I'm understanding correctly, you're saying that," or "It sounds like you feel." This technique, known as reflective listening, is a powerful tool for building rapport and demonstrating empathy. Another crucial element of active listening is asking thoughtful, open-ended questions. These questions should aim to deepen your understanding of the speaker's perspective, encourage them to elaborate on their thoughts, and show that you're genuinely interested in what they have to say. Avoid closed questions that can be answered with one word, like a simple yes or no. Instead, ask how and why questions that invite more detailed responses. For example, instead of asking, "Did you like the proposal?" you might ask, "What aspects of the proposal resonated with you, and where do you see room for improvement?" This type of question not only garners more information, but also demonstrates your sincere interest in the speaker's thoughts and opinions. One powerful technique in active listening is the use of silence. We discussed the strategic use of silence earlier, and it's particularly potent in the context of listening. When the speaker pauses, resist the urge to immediately jump in with your own thoughts. Allow for moments of silence. These pauses give the speaker time to gather their thoughts and often lead to deeper, more meaningful sharing. Practice the 3-second rule. After the speaker seems to have finished, count to 3 in your head before responding. You'll often find that the speaker will continue, sharing additional thoughts or insights that they might not have expressed if you had immediately jumped in. It's also crucial to listen without judgment. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything being said, but it does mean suspending your own opinions and reactions while you focus on understanding the speaker's perspective. Avoid interrupting to argue or correct. Instead, focus on truly comprehending their point of view, even if it differs from your own. This non-judgmental listening ties closely with empathy, which we discussed earlier. Try to put yourself in the speaker's shoes. What emotions might they be feeling? What experiences or beliefs might be informing their perspective? This empathetic approach not only helps you understand the speaker better, but also makes them feel more understood and valued. Another powerful listening technique is appreciative listening. This involves actively looking for things to appreciate or agree with in what the speaker is saying. Even if you disagree with their overall point, try to find elements that you can genuinely appreciate or support. Expressing this appreciation can create a more positive, collaborative atmosphere and make the speaker more open to your perspective when it's your turn to speak. As you practice these active listening techniques, you'll likely find that your influence naturally increases. People are more likely to be influenced by those who they feel truly understand and value them. By demonstrating through your listening that you genuinely care about and understand the speaker's perspective, you create a foundation of respect and goodwill that makes your own ideas and suggestions more likely to be well received. However, it's important to remember that the goal of active listening isn't manipulation or to create a false sense of agreement. It's about creating genuine understanding and connection. Your aim should be to truly comprehend the speaker's perspective, not just to appear as if you're listening so you can more effectively push your own agenda. One common pitfall in developing listening skills is the tendency to listen with the intent to reply rather than to understand. Many of us, while someone else is speaking, are busy formulating our response in our heads. This means we're not fully present with what's being said, and we may miss crucial information or emotional cues. Practice listening with the sole intent of understanding, setting aside your need to respond until you fully grasp the speaker's message. Another challenge in active listening is managing our own emotional reactions. Sometimes what we hear may trigger strong emotions, disagreement, anger, or defensiveness. It's crucial to develop the ability to recognize these emotional reactions without letting them derail our listening. Take a deep breath, acknowledge your emotional response internally, and then refocus on understanding the speaker. The HEAR technique can be a useful framework for practicing active listening. Halt. Stop whatever else you're doing and give the speaker your full attention. Engage. Fully engage with the speaker using appropriate eye contact and body language. Anticipate. Look forward to what the person has to say. Be curious and open. Reflect back what you've heard to ensure understanding. This technique encapsulates many of the key elements of active listening and can be a helpful reminder in your daily interactions. It's also important to consider cultural differences in listening styles. In some cultures, direct eye contact while listening is seen as respectful, while in others, it may be perceived as confrontational. Similarly, the use of verbal and nonverbal feedback while listening, like nodding or saying can vary across cultures. Be aware of these differences and adjust your listening style accordingly when interacting with people from diverse backgrounds. As you develop your listening skills, you may find that it changes the dynamics of your conversations in surprising ways.
Again.
You may notice that you speak less, but that your words carry more weight when you do speak. You may find that others are more likely to seek out your opinion or advice. And you may discover that you're able to resolve conflicts
Ay, nakagidiri ako.
beneficial
Ayan
solutions more easily. One powerful exercise for developing your listening skills is the listening
Sa
diary.
akin, 1 per
At the end
7.
of each day, reflect on your
Always
interactions and rate your listening on a scale of 1 to 10. What did you do well? Where could you have listened more effectively? What impact did your listening, or lack thereof, have on the interaction? Over time, this practice can help you become more aware of your listening habits and track your improvement. Another useful exercise is listening partners. Find a colleague or friend who's also interested in improving their listening skills. Take turns practicing active listening with each other, providing feedback on what was good and what could be improved. This peer feedback can be invaluable in refining your listening skills. Remember, becoming a skilled listener doesn't mean you never speak or share your own thoughts. Instead, it means creating a balance where you're fully present and engaged when others are speaking, and thoughtful and intentional when it's your turn to speak. This balance is at the heart of effective, influential communication. As you continue to hone your listening skills, you may find that it enhances other aspects of your communication as well. Your ability to choose words wisely will improve as you become more attuned to how others use language. Your empathy and emotional intelligence will deepen as you practice understanding others' perspectives.
Okay.
And your overall influence
Payroll.
will grow as people come to see you as someone who truly understands and values their viewpoint. In leadership roles, strong listening skills are particularly crucial. Leaders who listen well are better able to understand the issues and desires of their team, identify potential issues before they become problems, and create an atmosphere of open communication. They're also more likely to benefit from the wide range of opinions and suggestions of their team members. One technique for leaders to demonstrate and encourage good listening is the leader as facilitator approach. In meetings or discussions, focus on asking questions and drawing out others' thoughts rather than dominating the conversation with your own ideas. This not only helps you gather more information and perspectives, but also models good listening behavior for your team. In negotiations or conflict resolution situations, skilled listening can be a game changer. By truly understanding the other party's needs, concerns, and motivations, you're better positioned to find mutually beneficial solutions. The trust and rapport built through attentive listening can also help navigate difficult conversations more smoothly. It's worth noting that in the digital age, listening takes on new dimensions. In written communications like emails or instant messages, listening involves carefully reading and considering the sender's words, tone, and intent before crafting a response. In video calls, it means being fully present and engaged, despite the potential distractions of your environment. As you become a more skilled listener, you may find that exchange is not just how others perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. The practice of active listening often leads to greater self-awareness and emotional regulation. You may become more patient, more open-minded, and better able to handle disagreements or conflicts. However, it's important to maintain balance. Being a good listener doesn't mean always deferring to others or neglecting your own needs and opinions. It's about creating space for understanding before expressing your own thoughts. The goal is to enhance, not diminish, your ability to communicate your own ideas effectively. As we conclude this exploration of listening as a tool for influence, consider how this skill integrates with and enhances the other communication techniques we've discussed. The brevity we cultivated earlier becomes more powerful when complemented by attentive listening. The trust and credibility we built become deeper and more authentic when founded on genuine understanding. And our ability to choose words wisely is greatly enhanced by our improved comprehension of others' perspectives. But while mastering the art of listening is a powerful tool for influence, it's not the final piece of the puzzle in achieving quiet confidence and communicating effectively. There's another skill that can tie all these elements together, allowing you to not just communicate ideas, but to inspire, persuade, and create lasting impact. Are you ready to explore the transformative power of storytelling in communication? Chapter 9, Crafting Compelling Stories. In the complex world of human communication, storytelling stands out as one of the most ancient and powerful threads. From ancient rock art to the latest viral videos, stories have been the vehicle through which we share knowledge, convey emotions, and shape our understanding of the world. In the context of quiet confidence and achieving more by saying less, the art of crafting compelling stories becomes an invaluable tool for making complex ideas more relatable, memorable, and persuasive. The power of storytelling lies in its ability to bypass our logical defenses and speak directly to our emotions and imagination. When we hear a story, our brains react as if we're experiencing the events ourselves. This neurological response creates a deep connection between the storyteller and the audience, making stories an incredibly effective medium for conveying ideas and influencing opinions. But what makes a story compelling? At its core, a compelling story has several key elements: a relatable protagonist, a challenge or conflict, a journey of transformation, and a resolution that provides insight or meaning. These elements create a narrative arc that engages our attention and satisfies our innate desire for pattern and meaning. The first step in crafting compelling stories is to understand your audience. Who are they? What are their hopes, fears, and values? What kind of stories will resonate with their experiences and aspirations? This understanding will guide your choice of characters, settings, and themes, ensuring that your story connects on a personal level with your listeners. Next, consider the purpose of your story. Are you trying to inspire, educate, persuade, or entertain? Your purpose will shape the structure and tone of your story. An inspirational story might focus on overcoming adversity, while an educational story might walk through a process of discovery or learning. One powerful technique in storytelling is the use of vivid sensory details. Instead of simply stating facts, paint a picture with your words. Engage your audience's senses. What did the scene look, sound, smell, or feel like? These details make your story more immersive and memorable. For example, instead of saying, "It was a cold day," you might say, "The bitter wind cut through my jacket, sending shivers down my spine as my breath formed misty clouds in the frosty air." Another crucial element of compelling storytelling is emotion. Emotions are the glue that makes stories stick in our minds. think about the emotional journey you want to take your audience on. Do you want them to feel hope, excitement, empathy, or a sense of urgency? Weave these emotions into your narrative through your characters' experiences and reactions. The structure of your story is also important. While there are many potential structures, one classic and effective approach is the hero's journey, popularized by Joseph Campbell. This structure involves a protagonist who is called to adventure, faces challenges, undergoes a transformation, and returns with new knowledge or abilities. This framework can be adapted to many types of stories, from personal anecdotes to business case studies. For example, in a business context, you might tell the story of a company, the hero, facing a significant challenge, the call to adventure. The company tries various solutions, tests and challenges, eventually discovering an innovative approach, the transformation. Finally, the company implements this solution and achieves success, learning valuable lessons along the way, the return. One powerful storytelling technique is the use of contrast. By highlighting the difference between before and after states, or between expectation and reality, you create tension and interest. This contrast can be particularly effective in persuasive storytelling, where you're trying to advocate for change or a new approach. Another effective technique is the use of metaphor and analogy. These literary devices allow you to explain complex or abstract ideas by relating them to something more familiar and concrete. For instance, you might describe a company's digital transformation as evolving from a caterpillar to a butterfly, helping your audience visualize and understand the profound nature of the change. Remember, in the spirit of achieving more by saying less, your stories don't need to be long or complex to be effective. In fact, some of the most powerful stories are quite simple. Consider the famous 6-word story attributed to Ernest Hemingway. For sale, baby shoes never worn. In just 6 words, this story suggests a powerful narrative of loss and grief. Practice crafting your own short, impactful stories. Challenge yourself to convey a complete narrative arc in just a few sentences. This exercise will help you distill your stories to their essential elements, making them more potent and memorable. When delivering your story, pay attention to your pacing and tone. Use pauses strategically to build tension or allow important points to sink in. Vary your vocal tone to convey different emotions or to distinguish between characters and dialogue. Remember, storytelling is as much about performance as it is about content. One common pitfall in storytelling is the temptation to include too much detail. While details can bring a story to life, too many can bog it down and lose your audience's attention. Focus on the details that are most relevant to your core message or that create the strongest emotional impact. Everything else can be left to the audience's imagination. Another challenge in storytelling is maintaining authenticity. In the quest to craft a compelling narrative, it can be tempting to make things sound more impressive than they are. However, audiences are often adept at detecting inauthenticity, which can undermine your credibility. Strive for honesty in your storytelling, even if it means acknowledging uncertainty or imperfection. Vulnerability can often make your story more relatable and powerful. As you develop your storytelling skills, consider creating a story bank, a collection of personal and professional anecdotes that you can draw upon in various situations. These might include stories of challenges you've overcome, lessons you've learned, or moments of insight. Having this resource will allow you to quickly recall relevant stories in conversations, presentations, or writing. In the professional world, storytelling can be a powerful tool for leadership and influence. Leaders who can articulate their vision through compelling stories are often more effective at inspiring and motivating their teams. When facing organizational challenges or changes, stories can help employees understand the context and see themselves as part of a larger narrative. For example, instead of simply announcing a new initiative, a leader might tell the story of how the idea was born, the challenges it aims to address, and the positive future it could create. This narrative approach can generate more buy-in and enthusiasm than a simple presentation of facts and figures. Storytelling is also a valuable tool in problem solving and innovation. By framing a problem as a story, you can often gain new insights and perspectives. For instance, you might tell the story from the point of view of a customer experiencing the problem, or imagine a future where the problem has been solved in an unexpected way. This narrative approach can spark creativity and lead to novel solutions. In marketing and branding, storytelling is essential for creating emotional connections with customers. The most successful brands often have a compelling story at their core. Think of Apple's narrative of innovation and challenging the status quo, or Patagonia's story of environmental responsibility. These narratives shape how customers perceive the brand and can create strong loyalty. When crafting stories for marketing purposes, focus on the customer's journey and how your product or service fits into their narrative. Instead of simply listing features and benefits, show how your offerings help the customer become the hero of their own story. In the digital age, storytelling has taken on new forms and challenges. Social media platforms, with their emphasis on brief, attention-grabbing content, require us to tell stories in new and concise ways. The rise of visual storytelling through photos and videos has opened up new possibilities for engaging audiences. To adapt your storytelling for digital platforms, consider how you can break your narrative into smaller, shareable pieces. Each piece should be compelling on its own, while also fitting into the larger story. Use graphic elements to complement and reinforce your written or spoken narrative, and always consider the specific norms and expectations of each platform you're using. As you continue to hone your storytelling skills, remember that great storytellers are also great listeners. Pay attention to the stories others tell. What makes them compelling or forgettable? How do different people structure and deliver their stories? You can learn as much from a poorly told story as from a masterfully crafted one. One powerful exercise for improving your storytelling is to practice retelling familiar stories in different ways. Select a well-known fairy tale or myth and retell it from a different character's perspective.